So before I really get started, today's episode is brought to you tonight by TRC, Total Roofing and Construction, the team that treats veterans and first responders like family and stands behind every job that they touch. If you need a repair, an inspection, a full roof remodel, hit up Total Roofing and Construction. Quality you can count on. All right, so today is going to be...
Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to do something a little bit different, okay? Let's stop here. All right. We've had Josh on this side of the couch for long enough. I think we should switch things up, and we're going to have you. Let's go ahead and stand you up and sit you on this side.
Yes, sir.
That's usually the host chair, but let's see if we can find somebody who can.
That sounds good.
I know, man.
Let's see. How about let's get Brandon. Everybody, give Brandon a hand. Let's get somebody some fresh perspective. We don't hear a lot about Josh. Josh's guest. Let's hear a little bit about Josh tonight. How about that?
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Well, holy shit. I can't believe you guys let me do this. This is fantastic.
It's an honor. Thank you.
It is an honor. I mean, you've been sharing, been working with a lot of veterans and sharing the stories. So it's an honor to flip the script and have you on the hot seat sharing those. But my name is Brandon Ramsey. I am a huge supporter of the veteran community, even more of a supporter of really open the truth and the honesty. So I get to help you open up and share today, which I'm excited. But before we get started, I do want to give another shout out to GlowFrame. They are the boots on the ground. They're creating workforce pathways that are just incredible for veterans. So please support GlowFrame. What was it, December 9th? Please come out, Pemberton, and support them. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
It's a little different being on this side, all right? Like someone said, that is my good angle over there. But
I think the lighting's good there.
with it. Awesome.
All right. Good JMach fashion. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
No, this is about you.
All right.
How are you really doing?
So I'm excited. I'm choosing to call these emotions that I'm feeling right now pure excitement. I had a huge life-changing experience about 2 weeks ago that I can't wait to go into, that even right now it's giving me tingles and it's bringing emotions up that I just can't wait to share.
It's exciting to hear your story. I know a little bit about it. But I want you to get into a little bit of the background. I know I'm going off script, but you asked that question twice. Why is it so important for you to ask that question twice?
It's reassurance. And when you ask somebody, or somebody asks you for the first time, how are you doing? You're very hesitant and you're not necessarily likely to give up. The most common answers is I'm doing well or I'm living the dream. That's bullshit. That's a nightmare normally if someone's living the dream, And so just reassuring and asking that is showing that I'm not only asking you, but I mean it. Like I care. I want to hear your hard day. Everybody can show their highlight reel on social media. That's what it's all about. Very few people are willing to open up and share. And I'm letting you know that I'm one of the people that want to receive what you have to say. I want to hear about your day. I genuinely care. I don't want to know you outside the door. I want to know who you are when you close the door.
And I felt that. And you caught me off guard when I was on your podcast earlier this year. Really didn't know how to respond to it, but it really caught me off guard. And I appreciate you doing that. You still follow up with me and check in, which I really appreciate you. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
All right, we're going to kick off this first question. We're going to get really real. Right? We're going to really get to know the JMach. You've helped so many veterans and first responders get up here, share their story, a sense of healing, a sense of comfort you've provided. When did you realize you were carrying a story that you weren't telling?
Dude, this question's challenging for me, right? Because I felt like I was always sharing my story. But recently, a couple months ago, I started to recognize that I was still hiding behind something and I wasn't sharing what I really want to share. And I just haven't been able to figure out how to share that version of the story. Right. Because like I mentioned previously, that social media, you see everybody's highlight reel. You don't see the struggles. You see me making content, but you don't see how frustrating it was having my kids crawl all over me while I'm trying to record and be professional and that. And honestly, going through this ceremony 2 weeks ago, it's really allowed me to just open up and take the mask off. Or as I did in ceremony, take my shirt off and swing it above my head.
Yeah, I can't wait till you get there. Because I heard a lot about that ceremony, and there's some pooping and puking. I can't wait to get into that.
It's a lot of purging.
A lot of purging. But thank you for that.
My pleasure.
The next question is really geared towards your military life and then transitioning to your civilian life. And I know that veterans experience all different types of experiences when they transition to civilian life. As a Marine, Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, what is it, hoorah? Is that
Semper Fi, hoorah.
So what part of the Marine built that grit, and what part followed you home that you weren't ready for?
I think, man, what built that grit is just being around that brotherhood where you could completely open up to and be aggressive with and not have to worry about any repercussions other than if they can beat your ass or not, right?
Could they?
No.
Some of them?
The group of them
Did you
could.
ever get your ass kicked?
No.
Okay.
I got my dick dragged through the dirt,
Okay.
It's PT hazing, it's not even hazing, it's just properly training, right? There's opportunities for that everywhere. Now, I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but this is how I'm called to answer. And I'm going to speak as I was the person 2 weeks ago, not who I am today. But when I left the Marine Corps, I felt like a failure. I felt lost. I felt like I did not complete my mission or purpose as to why I joined the Marine Corps. And I chose to get out because of like a personal issue I had. I thought I needed a fresh start, which I would have got if I stayed in. I would have went to a new duty station and went somewhere else, but I wanted out. And for the longest time, I felt like a failure. I didn't complete my mission. I didn't see combat. I didn't go overseas. I didn't do any of that. So now how can I be proud of being a Marine veteran if the next question I feel like people are going to ask, would you go? Did you kill somebody? Did you do that? And I have to be like, no.
Combat, did you orient?
Yeah, and watch them like, oh, you're not as interesting. Oh. However, I built that up in my own head. So that for a long time was a huge struggle, and I was telling and preaching to myself and other people that I found my calling through this podcast, that my calling and purpose of joining the Marine Corps was not to fight the war overseas, but to fight the war we face once we get back home, and that's exactly what I'm doing with this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, obviously we talk about combat, seeing combat, and being a veteran, and just the reason why you joined the military and why you want to be part of the Marines, that mission, and you shared it too, it continues, and you're continuing that mission. So your mission is still going, and we thank you for that. And even bringing this to the forefront and being honest, I think it's impressive. And I know there's a little bit more that you could talk about this, but what else did you bring home? Your feeling of not completing your mission. What else did that bring in to your family life, your personal life? I mean, there's.
Yeah, dude, I was a contractual alcoholic, which I feel like most veterans are. As soon as you join the military and sign on that dotted line, you're going to become an alcoholic at one point or another, because that was the only socially acceptable thing to do in the military that allowed you to escape and decompress in a fun way, which ended badly almost all the time. A lot of anger, a lot of remorse and regret, or feeling less than. You go from having that community where you're forced to be around 30 plus individuals that you could hate, but you love them at the end of the day. They're forced to be there with your family. We had that group therapy every day on active duty, but we never recognized it, because you could walk outside of your room, walk into your workplace, and just talk and bullshit and talk freely, where even civilians, I'm sure when you go to work, you have to talk a different way than you would to like your friends, your family, and that. And in the Marine Corps, you could just talk anyway, or in the military in general. You could talk however you wanted, however you felt, and you didn't have to worry about being checked in or anything like that.
Well, my wife is an HR executive, so it sounds like you guys are.
So stay away from your family party.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'd love to be part of it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for. And I mean, it leads way into our question. And during our first podcast, you did open up, and this is in regards to your children. And when you opened up, you did get a little emotional, and I think this just goes back into some of the other things that you brought home from the military. You admitted that anger came out. You snapped at your daughter. You felt really, really bad about doing that. How hard is it to say out loud that you snapped at your kids, and how much you hated yourself for it?
It's hard. It's embarrassing. Like, as I turn and look at everybody in the eye, I don't even want to look at you, right? Because, like, how could you... Don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I want to kick these little kids out of the second story window of the house, but I love them every moment of the day, right?
Like, I think the crowd likes that one.
Okay, because like
mentally, you can kick your kids out of the window.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy. Like, oh, if I could punch you out this window, I would. But then I would run down there and catch you before you hit the ground because I just love you that much, right? It's hard, even to this day. Even though I am changing, I'm a different version of myself. I still catch myself being more aggressive than I wanted to, and I can blame that on the military. But honestly, that's from my childhood and what I learned or witnessed or who I embodied growing up. I'm sure we'll go into a little bit deeper a little later, right? But yeah, baby girls, I'm so sorry for yelling at you. I love you. I'll never punch you out the window, even if I wanted to. But yeah, you girls are amazing in my life. You bring the sunshine on a cloudy day. You make life worth living again.
And just to stay on this topic, because it really meant something to me when you opened up about it. Because when you snapped at your daughter in that moment during our podcast, you really mentioned how it made you feel as a father. Can you just share that emotion? Because I think that really tells, for me, some of the battles that you're also facing kind of in the home. But can you share kind of the emotion, because you really beat yourself up about it?
It starts off as a good emotion, as a feel-good emotion, because hurt people hurt people. And when my kids triggered me and I was ready to scream, it felt good to let it out. Not that it didn't feel good that I was yelling at them, but it felt good that I was finally letting that energy out. And then I recognized that I'm yelling at my daughters. And then you see their face going from happy and like, haha, F you, Dad, to, and like that I hurt them. It really played with my mind and emotions because I didn't understand what unconditional love was. And by not understanding unconditional love, I felt like I yelled at my daughter now, so she's going to hate me for the next 6 years.
That's what you mentioned earlier.
And then 6 minutes later, she's like, Daddy, I love you, and comes, gives me a hug, and we go play or hang out. And it was a whirlwind of emotions that, one, I recognize I no longer wanted to be in, but I don't want to cause that for my kids. Yeah. And that's what really added fuel to my healing journey.
I know that you also battled negative self-talk, and that was another one that you were really battling. How has that been since our last podcast?
Yeah,
Are you still beating yourself up?
Up until 2 weeks ago, for sure I was. And there's still going to be room for improvement the rest of my life and now. But I've definitely been able to reform the way I think, the words I say, the positive affirmations. And I went from having to think and remind myself to be grateful, to think about and forcing myself to say something that I'm grateful for, to now it just flows to me natural. And I just wake up grateful and happy, grateful for my life, my wife, my family, my kids.
Well, you have everyone here supporting you. So
this podcast and the beautiful studio audience. Thank you.
So, all right, now we're going to get into the heart of the podcast. Chris mentioned earlier mental health, and we're going to get into this. There's stress, and then there's something deeper. And we can battle both of them. When did it hit you that this wasn't stress anymore? This was something was really wrong. When did it hit you?
So it's like I knew it, but I never wanted to accept it. I knew I was depressed. I'd say I was depressed, but I didn't want to feel it. I felt the depression, but I didn't want to feel me saying those words, right? And so like I was just like, oh, I'm just mad. I'm just angry about it. I blamed my wife. Like it's my wife's fault. She's not giving me this. She's not doing this. She's doing that. Or I don't have this. I don't have that. And just focused on all the negativity.
Yeah. And I think it's hard when we say, what is depression? What is stress? How do we handle it? How do we seek help? Are we taking it out on others? I know everyone battles depression in their own way, and being a college athlete and you in the military, we're really trained to hide our pain and mask our pain. What are some of the ways that you felt like you were masking this before obviously you can let it go, but what were some of the ways that you were masking this depression?
Just piling everything on my shoulders, holding it all, pretending like I was holding it all in. I definitely was a self-isolator. And as I would the only time I hung out with people would be if I had to throw an event to get people to come hang out with me, or I got lucky that you wanted to have coffee with me one day, right? But at the same time, I just didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything, and I just thought that's who I was since my childhood.
Yeah. And to go back to that, and that was When you reached out to me, was it LinkedIn, email?
It was a social media platform.
Social media, but when you reached out to me and you wanted to share what you wanted to do, you had the podcast, the sandbox. I was just so impressed that you reached out to me to do this. And I also feel like this was part of your healing journey. And I will tell you right now, you don't need to throw an event for people to hang out with you. You just got to ask. But I appreciate that, and look what you've done in this course of the year and what you're going to continue to do. So I appreciate that. Coffee at Spencer's.
Spencer's Place.
Spencer's Place. Check it out. Delicious. Great organization.
Great cause for sure.
Great cause. Just to kind of piggyback, depression, the deepening, something's wrong. You're married, and so there is a strain because you are holding stuff back. You mentioned earlier that you would snap at your wife, you'd blame your wife for certain things. This is really hard. I mean, this is your foundation. This is what is your safe space. This is supposed to be your peace. So when you were battling these internal battles, how did this spill over into your marriage? I mean, you already mentioned you blamed your wife, but
it was terrible. I thought I was doing everything to I was forcing my wife to love me, which was just causing her to push away and pull back. In her words, we hated each other. We had love for each other, but we just hated each other, and we were looking for a reason to leave. And literally a week and a half, or 2.5 weeks ago, we got into like a little disagreement in the car ride home, and I told her, I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working for me. We need to figure something else out. And I didn't say it as nice as that. And she looked at me, she's like, who the fuck are you talking to? And at that moment, like normally I would have like had an emotion, and I was just numb. I like you, but that caused a lot of pain too. Looking back, I don't want to hurt anybody, let alone my wife or my kids. And I was doing nothing. I was trying to do the exact opposite, but doing everything to hurt her. I fell into that cycle of insanity where we were doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same results.
Yeah.
So it caused a toxic marriage.
And obviously that spills over to the kids, and the kids see their parents, and these internal battles that you're having, you're starting to release them. And I know a lot of people here can really relate to the strain on the marriage, especially when we keep things inside and we're not talking to our significant other. In that moment, when you snapped, was that a point when you thought that your marriage was going to be over?
Yeah. My wife and I have talked about this recently, but it's like I didn't see a future, but I also didn't see a future without her. Like I didn't want to come home to an empty house. I didn't want to raise the kids alone. I felt like I could successfully do both. Yeah. I just absolutely didn't want to. I didn't want to lose her. I just didn't want to be the way we were anymore.
Completely understand that one. What did things look like when you were at your worst, before the healing, before the ceremony? What did it look like before and after the ceremony?
It felt like I was stuck in a healing state where I could notice that I was making changes, but I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I had no idea how to get out of healing and when do you start living again? Because I feel like that's just a rabbit hole that you can constantly heal. Like you go all the way back to your childhood till now, and there's always going to be something that you could work on. So I didn't see the way out. I still was depressed. I was unhappy. I was miserable.
Yeah, it's hard when you're waking up every day and you're like, when is the day I can be happy?
Yeah.
When can I be happy?
And all the work I was putting in, the different organizations or programs I went to work on my mental health, even to microdosing and starting my psychedelic healing journey with microdosing. Yes, microdosing helped me tenfold, but I still felt like I wasn't past square one. I was in a better place, but I was still stuck in this
There's still
depression
work you had
cloud.
to do. There's still work that needs to be done.
I didn't want to be here. I also didn't not want to be here, right? So like, I'm a very confusing person, right? I didn't want to be here, but I didn't want to kill myself. I just wanted to let me just go sip a Mai Tai on the beach in Bora Bora or something. Or honestly, I'd probably smoke a joint on Bora Bora's beach.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
Is that what you
my
think?
dream
Is that your safe
vacation
spot?
is Bora Bora, yeah.
Your safe spot, you just go and you Smoke a joint on.
You're out there by yourself, you're alone, like maybe some random pigs or some other people just
So
escaping
you studied
their
Bora
life.
Bora. Is that your...
It's been a dream for a long time, okay?
To smoke a joint on the beach with pigs.
It's just something, yes.
Okay.
Well, you know, yeah, we'll throw the pigs
That's
in.
something I'm pretty sure everyone's...
Yes, yes.
I love it. I love it. So they have pigs on the...
I don't know, there's some beach somewhere with pigs that you're not supposed to feed, right?
Can someone
I just combined them
check
in.
them, please?
Yeah. The whole point is I'm trying to, for the first time, actually speak about that I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I refused to accept that I had suicidal ideations because I didn't want to kill myself. There was times that I thought about, oh man, how easy would life be if I just put the gun to my mouth? But then as soon as I thought that, I would not allow myself to think that anyway, because then I'd go right back into thinking about my kids and like how it's a temporary solution. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I would just be passing it on. This is, sorry, I was going to make a joke, but you know, silence your phone.
Ruined it.
Wow.
Ruined it.
I was talking about wanting to kill myself,
next.
and now you want to, you know.
So Chris, next time, phone's off.
Wow. You're banned. We're going to take a picture of you and say, not welcome. No. I'm actually really grateful for that because it shows how we can go about talk about something so fucking serious to laughing. And now the spotlight's on you, all right? The camera's still facing me.
Stand up.
But,
It's a reminder, it's time to take drugs.
yes, back on the beach. You want to go? Depending on what we're smoking, maybe the pigs are or aren't there, but we see them.
This podcast just took us to
This went way where I didn't want it to go, but that's okay.
And, you know, obviously the podcast is about mental health and a way of healing. And you did bring up a very serious subject where you battled the suicidal thoughts, where it really is that internal back and forth with, I want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, So I know, obviously, with a lot of the veteran suicide and what's happening now and the internal battles, that check-in is very important. And I know you check in with me a lot. Is there a point where you obviously feel when you're checking in with other veterans that might be experiencing that same thing? Because, there might be that one time when they do choose the other side. And we've seen that with veterans. But, how do you feel now with really encouraging everyone who's listening and everyone here, the importance of checking in, the importance of checking in on not just veterans, but everybody?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm human. And it's a challenge to me because sometimes I feel like it is just bullshit. Like, is this really making a difference? But then now you're up here interviewing me. Clearly, there's just other signs that, like, this is making a difference and it is helpful. It's just not being in that mindset where someone checks in on you and you're like, oh, I'm fine, just go away. Yeah. You actually have to be there. You have to listen. You have to feel it. And I do that not only to allow you or anybody else I ask, like, how you're doing, to generally hear your story, but you're also healing me. I'm healing myself by asking you. The reason I probably love hearing about what happens behind closed doors is so I can relate with you guys. Because when I see everybody happy on social media or happy out at a function, I'm like, I don't even want to be here right now. And you guys are happy and having a great time. So when I ask you how you're really doing, I hear that struggle, and that's how I can connect to you. That's how I can relate to you, because I'm like, okay, I can hit you on that emotional level. I may not be where you're at in life or stature or business or family, but I can match you and meet you and connect with you over your emotions.
And I think you're damn good at it. So
thank you.
Got me to open up on your couch in your garage, which I appreciate. And I do like, too, the fact that you cut through the bullshit. How are you doing? How are you really doing? Let's be honest and share that. I think that's a huge I care and I want to listen, because a lot of times when people ask how you're doing, they don't really care. It's, okay, cool, well, I'm there. But the fact that you're opening that door to actually want to hear more on how they're doing. I think
the problem with that is so many people are used to being asked how you're doing, and then as soon as you say how you're doing, even if you opened up, they're like, oh, hey, can you do this for me? There's like a reason you're asking me. I'm telling you right now, the reason I'm asking you is because I want to know, I want to hear, I want to connect with you.
Yeah, I think that genuine nature. But this leads right into the question, the next question. This podcast is your way of healing. But it's healing so many other people that are opening up. You have an audience here that is here to listen, here to support you. Most people start it for fun, and I know you battled, should I do this, should I not do this? You started this because you needed a lifeline. You needed to reach out and you wanted to be able to hear these stories and connect to these stories and relate to these stories. Why was this the thing that kept you going?
It was my way of connecting, giving back, and to continue to serve because I didn't serve the way I wanted to in the military. Which now, 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't say this. Today, I'm so grateful I don't have to now conquer combat experience on top of the trauma or shit that I had to work through prior. It's such a blessing. Was I ready? If my number was called, yeah, absolutely. I signed up for it. I was ready to go. But I no longer am discounting myself for not serving or serving in that capacity and seeing combat. I'm grateful for it. And I feel like I'm different, all right? I'm different than everybody where I can match and I can connect with almost anybody, right? Like those veterans that have seen combat and tell you like, you ain't shit unless you've seen combat or like you don't rate or that. I can weasel my way in and connect with that person. There's organizations that were for combat veterans only that love me and talk to me all the time and know that I don't have combat experience. And that helped me feel worthy, right? Like I was finally hanging out with my big brother who got to do all that cool shit and I never did, but now we're hanging out as one and they're actually looking up to me and I'm inspiring them. And honestly, this podcast started because one of my buddies posted me or tagged me in doing the 22 push-up challenge where you do 22 push-ups for 22 days.
Did you do it?
No, I just had shoulder surgery, and I was like, there's no way I could do push-ups right now, let alone 22 for 22 days. And it was eating me alive for a couple of days. Like, I was letting down my brothers and sisters. Like, I could reach one person doing that, so, like, I need to do something. Then I had another buddy posted a meme saying, stop doing the fucking push-ups, pick up the phone and call your buddy. And I was like, light bulb right then and there.
Wow.
The
So that's
idea
how this whole thing came about.
Yeah, but I didn't think I was worthy enough or anybody wanted to talk to me or I could make a true difference. So I passed it on or I mentioned it to somebody else. Then they turned it down. So I was talking to my therapist while I was in therapy and she's like, you got your phone on you? And I was like, yeah. She's like, you want to pull it out, go on Facebook Live and start telling your friends and family you're going to start this? And I was like, all right, now you're crazy. Let's switch chairs here. But I made a promise that I'd go home and start a video and post it, which I did. So it's now been 5 years since then.
Can we still find that video?
Probably
I would
somewhere.
love to see that first video.
Dude, I'm gonna let you
Share
know.
it with everybody. I want to see it.
So a lot of advice that I give people is to make it exist and then make it good. And that's exactly what I did. It was complete trash. I was not an audio engineer. I'm still not. And I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to do a FaceTime with a screen record. Well, that doesn't pick up the audio. Oh. So I had a great podcast conversation with
We
a
call
mentor
that
of
learns.
mine.
You're learning.
Yeah, it was trash, dude. I don't care. I don't need to soften it. It was trash. That's what it was. But it's the trash that needed to form the pile to the mountain that I'm building.
Yeah, and you always have to start somewhere, and that was a bold move. And to go back to combat ready, battle tested, and I've heard from several veterans, and a lot of things that I've done is they're still fighting. There's still battles in their head and here. And so, for me, and to hear that, I think you're battle tested because you are relating to individuals and veterans who have experienced that. So do you think that your role, that even though when you were in the military, since you said this is your way of serving, you're on the battlegrounds here in the United States. Do you feel that?
Yeah, dude. Because sometimes it's heavy listening to people talk and share their stories, and then sometimes it's like, can I really help? Now, why did I go onto this tangent? I have no idea. I'm trying to answer your question, so can you re-ask it?
Yeah, no. So with me talking to a lot of veterans and obviously trying to find resources and kind of connect with fellow veterans, the battle didn't end when they became a civilian. The battle's still here. My cousin, he served as a field medic in the Army. And when he came back, he was still battling. He had PTSD. He still thought people were up on the roofs, and he was still in battle. And you're bringing this opportunity for those who've been in battle and still battles here today. you are serving now and you are in that battle. And so my thing was, do you feel that you are in that battle with your other fellow soldiers and those who have seen combat and those who haven't? Do you think this podcast is your way of continuing to be on that battlefield with your fellow veterans?
100%, but it's more than just battle, right? Because honestly, we're just battling ourselves. So once I was able to conquer that or fight that, but I'm out here. I feel like I'm a little bit more than just battling it. I'm in the trenches with you, but I'm not just going to stay in the trenches. I'm trying to pull you up and out of it. So I started this podcast to save myself more than, it's just been a blessing and a cherry on top that I get to save anybody or everybody else that's listening or been part of the podcast. But I'm not just sitting in the trenches with you. I'm not going to just sit here and say, oh, poor you. No, I'm going to counter it. Even before ceremony and all that stuff, when you would talk to me or anybody would talk to me, I'll try to give you a different perspective. I feel like I'm really good at seeing multiple sides of the situation. Where we were talking earlier that somebody lost their job, and I was like, good, congratulations. Because they're waiting for you to say, oh, I'm so sorry, and then they get to sit in that pity, right? No, congratulations. Maybe unexpected, but now you can do whatever you want. You have a freedom now. You have a choice to make. What are you going to do with it?
Right. So you've mentioned a lot about this ceremony. And I remember when you were telling me that you were going to go to participate in ayahuasca. And so I YouTubed ayahuasca. Please, people, YouTube ayahuasca, because there was a lot of puking, some pooping, so there's just a lot. And so when you told me that you were going there, and you were going there for a purpose with fellow veterans, I really was curious on how your experience was going to be. This is your opportunity. Take us through your experience during this ayahuasca ceremony.
So before I jump into that, instead of Googling or YouTubing ayahuasca, there's a Netflix documentary called In Waves and War, and it follows 3 Navy SEALs that went through Ibogaine, which is different but very similar. It's a psychedelic-assisted therapy. Ibogaine is supposed to be the fatherly figure. You feel more of a fatherly love and warmth in it. Ayahuasca is more the motherly feelings in that. And I will boldly and honestly say that ayahuasca has taken me out of healing without seeing the light and back into living again.
Wow.
Thank you.
And so what for everybody that's listening again, the Netflix, what's the show called?
It's called In Waves and War.
Waves of War.
And if you want to learn about ayahuasca, the organization I went through is called the Aya Mission, the AYA Mission. Look them up. It's a veteran-owned and operated nonprofit, and I'm ready to share more of my story.
Awesome. So you're in this ceremony with fellow veterans. They're running through the entire ceremony. You shared earlier when you were puking, you were purging all that depression, you were purging. What did you confront during that ceremony?
Oh my God, that's a lot. So there was 3 ceremonies from 10:30 p.m. to roughly 6 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. First ceremony, Friday, it was dark for me. I had no visuals. I was angry. I hated it. You want me to walk you through it?
Yeah.
All right. I was angry. I hated it. It was not enjoyable for me. And I woke up. I was still angry. I was still grumpy. I was miserable. But I heard everybody else outside smoking and joking. They had a great time. I heard them talk about how it sucked because they were purging, but how beautiful it was, how great the visuals was, how this and that. So now I'm like, now I hate all of you. All right, this is terrible.
Why are you all having fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
But instantly it made me start thinking that, dude, my wife was right. And in a lack of better words, I was the cancer in my family, in my own life, where I was only dwelling on the negatives, what she's not doing for me, what I'm not doing, what I don't have, all the negative. I couldn't see positive. After ceremony, we had breakfast, and then we did an integration circle where we sit down and share our journey from the night prior. During that, again, everybody had a great time except for myself. However, my mindset shifted, and I was no longer bitter, disgruntled. I was becoming happy. I had a smile on. I was loving their stories and that. And the last person that went, he said, JMach is going to have the greatest night ever tonight. And it was his first time.
Was that your second night or third?
Going into our second night. He said that I was going to have the greatest night ever, And this was his first time going through the ceremony as well. So I was like, how does this guy know? But they told us like every night's different. So on the first night, I was also the very first one to purge, which was embarrassing because I was the first one.
For everyone, what is purge?
In this instance, I threw up. But purging can be crying, shitting, puking, screaming, shaking, anything like that, getting the energy out, getting the negative out. So I was the first one to purge, and then they came back up to me like, oh, since you threw up so fast, go ahead and get yourself another serving, and you didn't want to.
Did you do it with a smile?
I was not smiling that first night, that's for sure. So then the second night, ceremony starts, and I'm anxious, and I couldn't sit down. I thought it was because I didn't want to be the first one to puke again. I didn't want that spotlight on me. So I went outside, and I just was so happy. Went back inside, waited in line, got my medicine, laid down, and I sprung up like 15 minutes later. I felt like I was ready to party. Like I wanted to hit a beer bong, just have a great time. Everybody else is sleeping. They're down. Showing you that I'm having the exact opposite effects as everybody else did. First night, they were up. They were having a good time. This night, I'm up trying to have a good time. So I went outside because I was trying to be mindful of everybody else there and be quiet. And one of the Karma crew came out to support me and asked me how I was doing. I was like, dude, I'm just so happy. I'm so excited. I'm just ready to go. Went back inside, and I couldn't stay there. I went back outside. Next thing I know, I'm looking at the moon howling at the top of my lungs. And then I'm beating on my chest because I'm fucking JMach, bro. Like, something powerful. And I went inside, and I was purging, and it was vicious. And I feel like I found the algorithm, so to say, for that ceremony that night, where it was all about body posture. Everything I learned about becoming religious or being at church, you have your palms up so you could just receive everything. I switched it. I started to go palms up. I was being open. I was embracing what was happening to me. And I started to purge. At one point, I was on all fours and the music started to play and it hit me. So I was like purging, puking with my hand up like I was raving out.
Didn't you say that people were cheering you on for your
Yeah, at one point
champion?
I was purging so viciously and violently, like my Marine Corps fan club. They're like, go JMach, go! Thank you guys. You really helped me, honestly. And it was such a blessing. And then the dude came and played the drums in front of me as I was purging. And I felt like everything lined up where I was going into like this other realm, this other portal. Things were flying through me as the toxins were flying out of me. And all of a sudden I felt something work its way out and I purged it out. And I called it up until today a blockage. Like I felt this blockage come out. And as soon as it came out, I felt over 30 pounds lighter on my shoulders, my chest, my face. You know when you want to cry, you hold it in, it just gets heavy? My face just stayed like that permanently until I purged whatever that was out. And now I believe it was my depression. I purged out my depression because I was able to just love life again and smile and be so grateful without having to force it. It was natural. And I felt like I was the light, even though I was going through it and purging viciously. I felt like I was the light for every other participant in there. So after that, thank you. After that ceremony and after breakfast, we were in the integration circle and I shared my journey and how powerful it was and how I purged whatever that was out and how better I felt, how much better I felt. I was so relieved. And everybody, we'll say there's 40 people, over 20 of them in their integration speech mentioned me and how JMach was the light to them. Someone said as I was purging, they looked over and they saw a little boy puking it all out. And that, which is really interesting as I get into the third night, and I'll bring that up in a minute. That even after our integration circle and we were just going about the day waiting for the next ceremony to start, that people of the organization, the church and the Karma crew, they came up to me and like, dude, did you hear how many people said your name or mentioned you in their integration circle? He's like, JMach, more like the rock. You're the rock for everybody in here. And it got to the point that I literally felt, you remember the movie Green Mile? Mm-hmm. You remember when Tom Hanks had the inmate heal the other inmate and he's like, how you doing? And he's like, tired, boss, I'm tired. And he just purged everything out. 100% how I felt like looking back on it.
Great movie, by the way.
Great movie. So we go into the third night where I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it easy. Actually, let me take this back. I was going to stay off my phone the whole weekend because I was trying to escape my wife. I didn't want to have to hear from her. I didn't want to have to know she's doing something that's going to piss me off, right? And I was like, you know what? No, fuck this. I'm done. I FaceTimed her, and instantly she's like, your face looks different. Like, your eyes look different. And I was like, babe, I just love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. You are perfect in every way, and you can do no wrong. Yeah, she's still going to piss me off, right? Like, that's just marriage. But the fact that I could even say those words and believe it and felt it, and like I said, 2 days before I left for this ceremony, I was telling her this ain't gonna work. We need to figure something else out. So now I'm calling her, talking to her like this. But I didn't feel like she truly believed it, because she would, before I left, she would tell me like, yo, when we're not together, you'll text me and be like, oh, I love you. I can't wait for you to come home. And then I come home and it's like the complete opposite. And Saturday, the second night during ceremony, when I fell in love with my wife again and let everything go, I had my hands on my chest and I was just talking, and I was talking to her. And in that moment, I was passionate, adamant, and I knew for a fact she felt what I was saying, and I was healing her in essence, right? I felt this warm sensation where I was channeling the energy to. I felt something. I know it sounds hippity-dippity, but I felt it. And then I had that conversation with her, and things started to get better, and went into the third night, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take it easy because I'm going to go home, see my wife and kids, and I'm actually grateful and happy. Let me just take it mild. I took my first cup, and my intentions going into it was for patience and calm and just being present. So the whole night, again, it was just dark, but I wasn't mad about it. I didn't see much. And then all of a sudden, I had this visual of when I chose to hide within my own body because I felt fat or out of shape, and that as a child, I remembered we were playing gully ball, which is a version of baseball our baseball coach had us playing. And everybody took their shirts off and like, come on, Josh, take your shirt off. And I was like, no, no, no. And ever since that moment, I never took my shirt off. So all of a sudden, I sat up on my mat, ripped my shirt off, and just fucking shaking it above my head like I was Magic
And did
Mike.
they cheer you on? Is that
Dude, Ulysses from the Ayahuasca mission, he matched my energy. He got up, took his shirt off. The dude next to me who was cheering for me, purging, got up, took his shirt off. And then
Should we do that here?
I thought about it, but I don't. This isn't that. It's a family-friendly show. No.
I get some views though, right?
Yo, when Bert Kreischer comes on here, I'll do it shirtless with him.
Oh,
all right.
okay.
Tag Bert Kreischer. Anyways, lost my train of thought, but I'll get there.
Third day.
So yeah, shirt off. I ended up going back up to get another dosage. The shaman's like, oh, okay, this is a little bit stronger, but it should be easy enough on your stomach that you can hold it down. Come back in 15 minutes for your next dose. I said, okay, cool. Mind you, I'm still shirtless, shoeless. I go outside trying to hold the purge in, get that cold air, the cold sand, and nothing worked. I finally just said, okay. I did my breathing techniques, breath work, which is amazing, by the way. You really should try it if you haven't. And I went back inside and I just started to purge. Well, as soon as I laid down, I felt something get tied around my huevos up into my stomach. It just got real tight and it hurt so bad. I was like, what is this? So I went to go stand up, and as you're standing up, you need to straighten out your back. As soon as I tried to straighten out my back, I felt something push me on balance, and I stumbled backwards, and I was like, what is that? And then I recognized that whatever it was didn't like the fact that I was regaining and taking control of my body, my mind, and myself again. So I stood up with the passion, and I felt it snap. And then I started purging, and I felt it working its way up. And then it felt like it got stuck in like my back shoulder back here where I have a cadaver tendon ligament from a dirt bike accident. So I went back up to the shaman, told him everything that was happening. And as I was waiting for him to give me more medicine, I just continued to talk and rant. And he did a tobacco cleanse on me, blew smoke over me, and I just continued to talk. In my mind, I'm just waiting, like I was trying to kill time till I got this next dosage so I could get the rest out. But
right.
Next thing I know, I'm standing up on the altar up there with my fist in the air, pride, beating on my chest again. Sorry, sound guy.
Edit that out, right?
Yeah, and I felt so powerful. And for the first time ever, I talked to little Josh. I talked to the little me. And I started by saying, you should be. And I was like, dude, look how proud of yourself you are. Like, you're up here doing this. This is you. If it wasn't for you and what you've been through, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So this is you. And I felt like I was preaching up there to the point that even the next day at breakfast, the shaman told me, he's like, dude, you gave me a sermon up there. And I was like, I felt it. And after I was done talking, I just felt relieved. I felt lighter. And I looked over at him. I was like, that was it, wasn't it? I just purged it out. I don't need any more medicine. He said, yes, absolutely. And he like reached down onto his altar and he gave me a crystal. And I've kept it with me ever since. And he allowed me to keep it. I was the only one he gave anything to. And I just felt like it was so powerful because I was that light for everybody in there. And as much as I was purging and embarrassed of doing it, the louder and stronger I did it, I gave everybody else power. I gave everyone else the light to be able to work on themselves and do it themselves. I was something to look up to. Like, this shit does work.
Yeah. So as you were describing that, and you were up on the altar and you were sharing the story, all I could think about is, you know, what you're doing here at the podcast, and allowing that, championing that, and so I can actually see a lot of what you experienced there, what you're going to bring into here. So I think that just helped accelerate it. But you did also mention you got to talk to little Josh. Not that little Josh, the little Josh. But thanks, you guys got it. That was a joke.
My wife wouldn't say it's little.
Big little Josh.
You know Cardi B, Big Mac truck? Yeah. No, all right,
Is this
sorry.
kid
Back to kid-friendly programming.
Kid friendly. I think we were far past that one.
Yeah.
The internal talk. You know, you shared that you had that internal talk. And knowing you when I first met you, and you were, I'm fat, I suck, I can't do this, I can't do that. Has your internal talk changed since you've been back?
Naturally. Like I said before, I used to have to force to be grateful or have gratitude, and now I can't wait to think of something to be grateful or have gratitude for. Like the crystal, every time I see it, I force myself. It's in my bathroom every morning, every night. I walk by it. Say something I'm grateful for. Literally that purge, that second night, something came out of me, and I've now decided to call it the depression. I purged out my depression where I can now see the positive. So the second night, my visuals were very minimum and very hard to see, but I saw things from my childhood where before I could only remember the negative or the bad shit that happened as a kid. Then I saw some of the same childhood memories, but my mindset shifted. Where it wasn't like, oh, I made this crazy basketball shot my dad didn't think I was going to make, and we're going to go golfing now, but he told me no, so he lied to me. I wasn't like that. I was like, dude, I had that experience, and I shocked my dad and my uncle by making that shot, and, you know, I shocked myself too, right? But I saw the positive side of things. So it's literally was my mindset and my perspective that I was choosing unconsciously to only focus and see the negativity. And like I said, I credit it all to ayahuasca, the Aya mission, everything, because microdosing was helping, but it wasn't. The 20 different prescriptions the VA put me on didn't help me. It may have maintained me and helped me survive for a period of time, but I never felt like I got better. I felt like I was just putting a Band-Aid over it, and it was progressively just getting worse, and I just had to find different avenues, different approaches. But everything, I mean, I'm sure I could ask some of you if you see a difference in me just by seeing me or talking to me, right? My wife has told me now that, like, she apologized to me. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't consciously, but I recognized that I wasn't receptive to your love. I wasn't receptive to that. Like, and now she is, and she apologized for it. Like, it's like, oh, shoot, I wasn't crazy. I was trying to love you, but you pushed back for a period of time.
You know, so after you experienced this ceremony, and you mentioned your wife, you know, your wife got to see everything. You experienced everything. The Josh before the ceremony, the Josh after the ceremony. What did she experience? What did she experience before and then now after?
She experienced hell with me before. Like, I apologize, and I tell her how grateful I am that she put up with me for however long she had to go through that, right? The me before, she worded it as like each day we were just looking for a fight. Each day it was a different fight for the same reason, but a different version of it. And it was exhausting. She worded it that we hated each other and we were just looking for a reason or an opportunity to get a divorce.
And now after the ceremony, and you talk about being grateful and really.
Yeah, I came home to a different wife, whether that be because we watched that In Waves and War documentary right before I left, so she got a little insight and saw what the wife's perspective and what could happen, to the fact that my Aurora, how you say that word? Aura. She said my eyes and my face, they look different. And just like my energy coming home, she's like, it allowed me to be receptive. So I'm not trying to steal her thunder, but like that Saturday night when I was talking to her, I feel like I healed her a little bit. Like I did some work, but she did work too. So I guess maybe I just don't want to take all the credit, because I do feel like I came home to a different wife. Because if I came home different, but was met with the same person, I don't know if I could be up on the stage right now or where I would be. I felt like there's a good chance it would have sent me to a spiral, but thankfully I don't even got to think about that anymore. And not worried about the what ifs. I'm back to living in the present and just loving her, listening to her, and being able to embrace her. Like, yeah.
To me, you feel lighter.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in that present moment, and I got to hear kind of a lot of stuff that you went through, and you've opened up to me about the marriage and some of the things that you've battled as a husband. Your wife was going to be here today. You couldn't find a babysitter, which I guess all the parents can relate to that one. If she was here right now, sitting on these chairs, how would she describe the man today? How would she describe you today? And she will be watching this, so.
Yeah, no. She would describe me as a different person, that I've changed, like, drastically. Like, the whole mindset switched. In 3 days, I did more therapy than I could have in 30 years. And I could say that she loves me now. She appreciates me for who I am, what I'm doing. Literally, it felt like it was going to take an act of God for me to take a dish out of the sink to just put it in the dishwasher a foot away. Like, it just seemed like so much work to do that. Now, I'm cooking meals I've never cooked before. I'm cooking. Not only am I cooking.
What are you cooking?
Dude, I made a pomegranate salsa. I don't even like salsa, but I made a pomegranate salsa, a cucumber avocado salad, and zesty chicken.
Now, if you would have made that, this would have been perfect.
You know, next time, all right?
Okay. All right. Well, now we know you cook.
But
so.
I also know my boundaries, and I am not about to clean up all those plates. So, small steps.
I know we're getting to the closing. But how are your children reacting to this new JMach?
It's
Joshua?
amazing, right? I knew my kids were affected by our marriage. I knew, or my actions. I didn't understand the level of it. And now, like, I'm loving my wife in the way that I want my kids to be loved. I have always been aware that your kids are going to be in a relationship just like the one you're in. And I didn't want that for myself, let alone for my kids. But now I'm able to love my wife in a way that I would be so proud and happy if my daughters came home with a man like me. I can finally say that and feel it, and not just like, oh, toot my own horn, but I mean it, right? Like, I massage my wife and just take care of her and pamper her so much now that my daughter will walk up behind her, my 5-year-old, and just start massaging mom. That's awesome. And my wife will bring it up like, look, because like I did that because I had to change. I was the cancer. And as much as I talked about the victim mindset and I wasn't a victim anymore, I was living in that victim mindset. I couldn't change it. I thought I did, but ayahuasca changed it. I put in the work, but that was the magic to help me.
That's amazing. So we are closing. Josh, I just want to say thank you for being open and candid. You have been supporting veterans with this podcast for quite some time now, and you've been the one asking these tough questions and getting people to open up. And I really appreciate that you allowed me to open you up and share your story and really get that emotional. So thank you for allowing me to sit in the leader's chair of the JMach podcast. But
well, get my last name right if you're going to say that. Don't
JMach.
Thank you. But no, dude, honestly, the pleasure's all mine. It's such an honor. I look up to you. I view you as a mentor, somewhere I want to be in life. And to have you be willing to interview me and ask me questions, but to then tell me that like I inspired you, that's super moving because it's like I inspired my big brother, but the big brother's supposed to inspire you. So it's pretty cool.
I love it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Amanda.
On night 2, you talked about like the switch. You said you felt really anxious and then you didn't. Like, what happened? Like, how was that process that it switched? Like, did something happen?
I took the medicine. Yeah,
Okay.
so I felt super anxious like leading up to it, where you get called from like your mat and you move forward into like in front of the altar so you can start taking the medicine. And I pushed myself to the back of that line because I was like, well, if I go last, I won't purge so fast, or it seemed like I purged so fast. So when I finally had the courage and took the medicine myself, I just started to feel happy. I think I went back to my mat and laid down, passed out for maybe 15 minutes, woke up with that excitement where I went outside, a Karma crew member came outside, talked to me. That's when I started to notice. I had no idea what was happening. I felt so much energy. I was like, ooh, I should go for a run right now. I was in Crocs in the desert and I haven't ran in years. Like, why am I gonna go for a run? So I chose to howl at the moon, beat on my chest. And I think that part right there goes to show that like men need to channel that masculine alpha energy and women need to channel that feminine energy. And there's times for both, right? But in that time, I needed to get in tune with my masculine self and stop living in my feminine side. My pleasure. Yes.
When you said you howled at the moon, can you give us an example of what?
Bro, I was out there.
Well done.
Any other questions? Now that I embarrassed everybody. All right. All right. Before we wrap up, the JMach Whoa. I actually want to say something. I foreshadowed my healing since I started the sandbox, and I never recognized it. Because the sandbox, what it stands for to me, is all of our trauma started in our childhood sandbox. Then as veterans, we have trauma whether we did or did not go to the sandbox. So let's heal as adults in the sandbox. And when I was at the ceremony, I was in the fucking sandbox. We stayed in a maloka, which is a yurt or just a circle tent with no floor on the ground. So I was in the sand. Now, before we wrap it up, the JMach Sandbox is proudly powered by Concerned Veterans of America. CVA is leading the fight to make sure veteran voices are heard, that policy actually improves veterans' lives, and that our community has real representatives. A big thank you to CVA for supporting the mission and standing with our veterans. And to everybody here or listening, this is why I do it. The JMach Podcast exists to combat veteran and first responder suicide, one story, one conversation at a time, while reminding everybody that they're not alone. We all have our struggles. Until next time, stay strong, stay present, and stay connected. And don't forget to share the episode, subscribe, and leave a review. And let's keep this conversation going. I would like to call up a list of our amazing vendors so you each can come up here for up to 2 minutes to share your mission of your organization. And I'd like to start with Canvas of Courage. Thank you. My pleasure.
Good.
Hold on 1 second, please. Let's get you all framed up.
So what happened? Did you go first?
Yes, Josh. Bet you're trying to purge. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, JMach, for sharing your story. My name is Joe Kane. I'm here with the Phoenix Center for the Arts right down here on 3rd Street. One of the things that I love about the Phoenix Center for the Arts is that, first of all, my wife works there. She's executive director. But my wife understood that veterans and our unique experiences come in all shapes and sizes. Look around the room. I think that one of the things we did there was part of being her husband, you had to put in community service hours. And so this year's project for being her husband, we have Canvas of Courage. What we're doing is expressive art therapy for veterans. Ultimately, we're putting people in the room and getting us outside of our comfort zones, whether it's doing clay making, whether it's improv, whether it's maybe we'll do karaoke next time, whatever. The idea is to get people out of their comfort zones, but also build a community. I remember we did a project where we took and all created. We started off with one just art. We spent 10 minutes doing some type of something, creation, right? And then we had to walk away from it. And we had to learn how to let go. And then at the end of the exercise, after an hour, we came back to our original piece and saw what the community had come up with. And then we took those 9, I think it was 12 stitches and put them together into a quilt, right? And now it's like, this is our let go quilt, something so simple that we do through the Canvas of Courage. I'll stop with this by saying the goal of this whole idea is to make the center, Phoenix Center for the Arts, a hub where if you want to come and just paint, you want to go get in the studio and do some beats or something, this is a space where veterans can feel safe coming and letting that expressive side out. So thank you for hearing our story. Please come check us out, Phoenix Center for the Arts. We're doing expressive art therapy through Canvas of Courage.
Is there a charge for veterans to go?
Oh, this is absolutely free, by the way.
Okay, cool. Form a record project.
Am I tall enough for this? Okay. So the Home of Record Project, we offer transitional housing, social services, and financial stability grants for veterans. So if you have a veteran struggling with eviction, we will walk them through the process on how to get past their eviction. We do utility assistance if we have the funding available, and we have transitional housing for veterans. So if you know a veteran in need, reach out to the Home of Record Project.
Don't you have a fundraiser going on?
Oh, yeah. We are doing a fundraiser right now to raise funds for a building that we are trying to get. Right now, we are looking for $100K, so if you have any resources or grants available for that, please reach out to us, because it will help a lot of veterans for many years to come. So please reach out.
Home base.
So glad there's this to hide behind. Dana West, U.S. Army vet. Start with the weird stuff, get it all out. So I work at home base. The biggest reason that we were started was for mental health, to provide mental health to veterans and really remove the barriers. Because so many veterans, whether they have access to the VA, service-connected or otherwise, there's so many barriers, whether it's time, money, or otherwise. So our clinical programs is 2 weeks, so very intense as well. But at no cost to the veterans, we will fly them out to Boston, put them in a hotel, pay for their food. And then for 2 weeks, they do individual therapy, group therapy, a little bit of rec therapy. Depending on the weather during the weekend, they get to go out to the farm and do some equine therapy. And then while they're there, we help them make sure that they can find a provider locally and get appointments set up for them. And really just make sure we remove as many barriers as possible. With that specifically, it doesn't matter what branch, it doesn't matter what era, it doesn't matter how long they served, it doesn't matter if there's combat status, it doesn't matter if they're service connected, enrolled in the VA. It doesn't matter if you have an OTH or a dishonorable discharge. If you are a veteran, we will serve you. We do have that program for our families of the fallen, so we do work really closely with TAPS. That's the clinical stuff. Locally, I get to do some of my favorite work that I've ever been able to do. We have a fitness program. It's actually right up the road on First Ave in Van Buren, kind of right by the YMCA. It's a 90-day program. We connect veterans and their families to a personal trainer. So every time they schedule a workout session, they have a personal trainer with them. They get to talk to a nutritionist, and then that way they, like, hey, I want to do marathon training, whatever it is. They can work with the coach and the nutritionist to get that sorted. And then the adventure series is probably the most, it's the smallest thing, but it's my most favorite. I get to plan social events and bring veterans and their families together. I recently got to work with a couple of other nonprofits to host a community dinner, and I just invited veterans and their families And we had veterans that had passed away. Their families came. They're like, we just want to be around other vets. We miss our son. I had people, their kids were grown and out of the home. We had people with kids. We had single vets. All of these people came together and had dinner together, and there were so many smiling faces. And I think that's probably the first time. I had like 10 people call me the next day, and they're like, please do another one. Just being together, and it makes my day because I don't have to work in crisis anymore.
Thank you.
But that's home base.
Foundation fortified.
What?
Foundation fortified.
Hello, everyone. Tonight we heard a lot about JMach and the relationship he has to his mind, right? We learned how he felt imprisoned by a reoccurring story of a failed military career. We heard about how he struggled to see the positive in his marriage, and his mind was just consistently feeding him negative material. We even heard about how his mind made him feel impulsive toward his family, right? That wasn't until he took a sufficient amount of ayahuasca, which gave his mind the opportunity to forcefully sit down and restructure some of these loops that it has created. We know by now scientifically that neurons that fire together tend to wire together. And during his experience on ayahuasca, he was able to interrupt these neuronal pathways throughout the mind and allow different pathways to be formed. And since then, he's had a rejuvenation in the way he experiences his moment-to-moment presence, as he said earlier, right? He even said that 30 years of therapy wouldn't be enough to accomplish what he got in 3 hours. But that's where mindfulness meditation can come in. And that's what I do. I try to teach mindfulness meditation to first responders, to try to be a preventative way to avoid mental health illness, while also cultivating focus, attention, and situational awareness that we need throughout our careers. Mindfulness meditation is a simple and elegant way that you can teach a skill to not only influence young first responders, but also reverse mental health disease that has started to affect so many of our veterans. So at Foundation Fortified, what we try to do is we try to bring our scientific understanding of mindfulness as it moves forward into a first responder world through different dialogue and lingo that they can understand, and palatable without all the religious dogmatism that poisons so much of our understanding of what the practice has to look like. So at Foundation Fortified, that's what we're up to. We're just trying to bring mindfulness practice to first responders, not only to give a progressive and hopefully a non-reactionary way to combat some of this mental health disease that's become rampant, but also help first responders cultivate a little bit of joy, compassion, and connection to the communities that they serve. Thank you all very much.
Medical. Thank you.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I will say good job, you guys, appropriately. One is just thanks for being so vulnerable. It was just sharing your journey of the healing was absolutely inspiring, and thanks for being such a good host. You really drove it out of them and allowed them to be so vulnerable. So thanks.
Our pleasure.
And
Thank you.
so for me, my name is Daniel Acosta. Right there. Daniel Acosta. I'm with Medical. I'm an Air Force veteran. I served as an EOD technician. That's explosive ordnance disposal. So I was in Baghdad in 2005. Just working on roadside bombs. That was my job, was to save lives, not take lives. And I got injured, severely injured. But throughout that journey, I always knew that there was going to be a need for VA healthcare and benefits and stuff like that. I just didn't know what it meant to me at that time. So anyways, throughout that time, did a bunch of cool things in life and got back to the point where I just love serving veterans. So much like what JMach was saying, I found my new front line of the war here in this space. And what we do at Medical is we provide the medical evidence that veterans need for a high quality claim to the VA. And what that really means is that we send them to doctors who are outside of the VA, doctors who are in a position to offer what we call a true independent medical opinion. And that's what holds all the weight. And that's the true value of our whole solution. And again, we served over 90,000 veterans over the last few years. It is a paid-for service, but the veterans who come to us, these are veterans who've been told no. These are veterans who have used other paid services or maybe even used a lawyer. So so again, what we do is we give them a little bit of hope, right? So part of our service includes a free consultation where we're just going to talk to them. We're going to do a little bit of discovery, understand what life is like, what life was like in the military, and understand whether those illnesses, injuries, or diseases are still impacting their health today. And again, the whole point about the VA disability claim, and not to take anything away from VSOs, veteran service officers, or anyone else out there doing serving veterans for free. Again, what it is, there's an awareness gap. Veterans just get lost in the process. They don't know what to do. And the truth is, the VA claim process is really not the hardest thing in the world. Because it all comes down to medical evidence, and that's what we do. We provide the evidence they need. And the truth is, the VA is not rating veterans just because they have a medical condition. They're rating them based on the severity of those symptoms. And in our solution, that's what we're capturing, and that's why we're so good at what we do. But again, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share what we do, and of course, we're going to continue to support you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First page. My pleasure.
So my name is Amanda Tallman. In 2020, I started First Page because of the grief I felt in 2019. I lost my team leader to suicide, and it was something I never thought I'd have to face. It was something that I felt responsible for in some ways, and I didn't know how to handle my grief. Through that, I created First Page because the last page doesn't define you. Whatever you think that last page is, there's always an opportunity to start again. We partner with other organizations like Home Base for that amazing dinner, and West Valley Women Veterans. We've partnered with Home of Record Project. We've partnered with people all across the Valley. We want to enhance programs, and then we also want to offer equine workshops to bring people out, do some self-awareness, kind of figure out where your stuck points are, and then send them back in the community to get connected to other resources or whatever's next for them. So we have several different programs. We just started and finished our pilot program, storytelling, and so we hope to continue to do that and see new veterans out there. Thank you.
GI, man, I forget. I'm so sorry. Ulysses, friend? Yes.
How you guys doing? My name is Eric. Sorry, I got to start again. A little nervous, as you could tell. Here, let me just do this real fast. I always got to just call it out. Look, I suffer from like severely bad performance PTSD. So it's really easy for me to get elevated, go off the tangent. However, if I just call it the fuck out, it helps eliminate it, right? So let's just get that out of the way. So my name is Eric Beniz. I started a company called AI Joe. Similar to ReMedical, there's a big divide between the veterans' ability to get the VA service that they need, right? The system is not that complicated. I'd spent 4 years at the 82nd Airborne as a forward observer, right? Did 2 combat tours. I've seen a lot of combat. I came back as a civilian, tried to get these jobs that I felt I had plenty of experience to do, right? However, I was getting turned down, and I was not getting the attention and the credit that I felt I deserved as a U.S. veteran, right? Fast forward, I get into medical device industry, right? Because that's one industry that admires high pressure performance, right? To stand there in an OR and to guide a surgeon, you know, as a knuckle dragger, barely graduated high school, you know, it's a pretty powerful place, but it's also incredibly difficult. The pressure is insane, right? It's similar to combat, right? Moving forward, I start to move my career through the medical device industry, trying to find less stressful avenues, right? But I couldn't. I was losing it. Mental breakdown. I was living in a permanent panic attack. You can see it right now, right? This is how I am, right? On medication, all the time, right? So then I turned towards the VA. What do I know? I know veterans. That's what I know, and I can help these guys. And through the bureaucracy of the medical device industry, I understood the red tape and insurances and criteria like the VA, right? It's not that complicated. Yes, there are fancy words that most of us don't understand. But if you do, it could be very easily put together in an expedited fashion, right? It doesn't need to take months. It truly doesn't. I get your story one time, I'll generate all the documents you need. Not only that, but I know your conversation moving forward. So when you inevitably get your denials, which you will, because the VA never approves anybody across the board, you come back to me. It's a lifetime service, right? Give me that denial letter. I'll look it over. I know what I submitted. I know how I built your claim, and it matches your story. And you will make sure it matches your story, and we will go through it together to make sure that it is your story, that is just well written, right? And so that is it. And for me, my biggest thing was when I got to 100%, that was that validation, right? I did all this crazy crap. Nobody gave me credit for it. They didn't, right? They say, thank you for your service, right? I always say my pleasure, because you don't know the experience that was. It was not the greatest experience, but it was an amazing experience. Maybe ugly, but it was beautiful, right? It made me a different monster, right? I used to say I could do anything off of hate and anxiety alone. I don't need to sleep. I don't need to eat. I just go, right? And how does that affect our families, Jay? Right?
Yeah, it is.
It's the same thing. And it was almost brought me into tears to hear him speak earlier, because his healing happened 2 weeks ago. Mine happened 2.5 months ago when I checked myself into the psych ward for the safety of my family after I went and drove all my guns to my dad's house, right? Because things got bad, and I wasn't able to come down, right? But it's what you don't realize, right? This superpower, when I got out, I thought I had, made me strong. I barely graduated high school, and I'm doing pretty well, okay? I'm doing all right, right? But that's because I had the grit. It almost killed me. My blood pressure got up to 210 over 140, right? Stroke levels. And I go into the ER, and they're looking at me like I got a problem, a meth problem, not a mental health problem. And in order to stay in there so I could get the treatment, so I could do my ceremony, I had to tell them the hot words, the put you on a 72-hour legal hold type of hot words, right? And so that's what I did. And then when they told me they got to put me on a legal hold, I said, thank you. And if you will, I would love to stay longer because I need to figure this out. I am not safe. I am not safe. I'm not safe. And people around me at times may not be safe because I got to a point where I started to lose control, almost like dementia, right? It was bad. It was bad. Be proactive. JMach, proactive. Be proactive. If your treatment is to start with the financial healing first, to get that validation, by all means, do that. Go to RE. Go to AI Joe. We can help you. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to come together. This whole system's just been butchered, and it's just been taken the wrong direction for too damn long. And I know we can fix this.
Thank you. VLMC, do you want to come up, Bob? VLMC?
So my name is Bob Dalpy. I'm an Air Force veteran. I do a lot of stuff in the veterans advocacy world. I like to say I'm the guy that knows the person that knows the person, but I don't know anything. VMLC, we've been around 25 years. What we do is we fundraise for the Phoenix and Prescott VA social workers. And do I have to restart?
You can if you want.
Okay. Since I blew the first time, thank you very much. That was a practice run. I'm good at practice runs. Ready? 3, 2.
Action.
Okay, thanks. So my name is Bob Dalpy with the Veterans Medical Leadership Council. Been with them for about 9 years. I'm an Air Force veteran. I am also the father of one serving airman who's currently deployed someplace in the Middle East, Army veteran, and a Navy veteran who's medically retired. The VMLC we're not a boots on the ground organization. We started 25 years ago to help support the Phoenix VA. They can't advocate for themselves, so that's what we did initially. New director came in, so we had to find a new mission, and our new mission was two things. Was actually the Phoenix Veterans Day Parade came out of us, and then they split off on their own. But what we do is we fund the VA social workers up to $2,500 per case for a veteran in need. It's about a 3-day turnaround. I'm also on the Military Family Relief Fund. We have about a 45-day turnaround. So it's a little slower. But we have right now it's about 3 days. The Phoenix VA social workers do all the vetting. We do the paying. We do not pay the veterans directly because, well, we know. The second thing we're working on is, this is a fairly new project for us, is mental health. We started about 2.5, 3 years ago in mental health. We are now putting on 2 to 3 community forums with both Senator Kelly's and Senator Gallego's office. The last 2 we did were on elderly veterans and their needs. One was in Tucson, one was in Peoria. We're looking at doing the next one. We'll be down in Yuma, but I'm not sure what don't look at me like that. Subway will be in Yuma. I gave the same look. But I don't know the topic yet. I'll be told later on. And then the third area, that's probably more my specialty, is we do a lot of work in the Native American communities. When COVID hit, I might have gotten slightly dragged in. And we sent about $2 to $3 million worth of supplies, 53 helicopter missions, 1,600 30-gallon water tanks across the Navajo and Hopi nations to the individual households. We're still sending toys. We got another toy run going up in the next couple of weeks, about $150,000 worth of toys. And then I help advise the Navajo, Hopi, and the Apache community veteran advocates on how to deal with the veterans advocacy and how to deal with the political systems down here. So I thank you for your time, and JMach Leadership Council will always take your support. Thank you.
Veteran Village.
I'll take this one.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, Brandon Ramsey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Is that how we go? First-time host. So my name is Brandon Ramsey. I'm a West Valley Maverick, and I'm here to talk about the Patriot All-America. I know we have some committee members at our Veteran Village, but if you've never attended the Patriot All-America, I encourage you to do that. We have opening ceremonies, and this year's Veteran Village will have a veteran hiring fair and awards. We're going to have JMach Podcast going live. He's everywhere. We can't escape him. So I really encourage you. It's a family event. It's at the Wigwam Golf Course, December 29th to 31st. We are also having Glow Frame out doing a creative writing class, which I'm excited about. I know we're going to have a lot of interest. I know US Vets is very interested in coming out. But please come out and support us. It is honoring the fallen soldiers. Every player has a fallen soldier's name, branch on the bag, along with the bio. And before I leave, when I first joined the Maverick organization, I had an opportunity to talk to a Maverick. And I was volunteering for the Patriot All-America. And the story that he told me was there was a gentleman following a player around throughout the entire course. And at that point, he just thought that he was alma mater, college, whatever it may be. Followed the player all the way around, saluted at every hole. And then the Maverick went up to this gentleman and said, "Is that your favorite player?" And the gentleman goes, "My son's name's on his bag. I flew here for his last tour of duty." And so if that doesn't tell you what this tournament stands for, I don't know what to do. So last tour of duty, please come out and support us, Veteran Village, and see JMach. So come see us.
I'll be hosting a sandbox after opening ceremonies December 28th. So if you're interested in being part of it or just coming out for it, by all means, don't hesitate to reach out. Is there anybody I missed that would like to talk? No? All right. I'd like to introduce Jeff Reynolds with Jeff Reynolds Production. He is the man with the giveaway. Thank you. Look.
Hey, great work.
Thank you.
It's not an easy job. Hi. Wow. Touching evening. I'm Jeff Reynolds with Jeff Reynolds Productions. It's funny sitting here. When I was a little boy, my mom and my dad, they said, always take care of your police and your fire, your paramedics. You know, they save you. And they said, you always take care of your veterans. They protect you. You know, and much like JMach, I've met my little boy recently, and the amazing thing about tonight is that it's perfect opportunity to start giving back to all the organizations. Tonight, we're going to give away a 3-day, 2-night stay at one of the properties that I've created for retreats, healing, things like that. Tonight's the start of that. It's going to one of you, and we will be launching a Reynolds Ranch here very soon for it's 40-acre ranch for healing retreats. I just got back from one. We did our first one, and it was a huge success, and there's healing up there for any of the organizations that are here. On top of that, I work for a company called CertaPro Painters of Phoenix, painting, right? We launched a program for all nonprofits, all veterans organizations, all. Jeff Reynolds Productions is in the business to share philanthropic stories around the globe, and we're doing it with all of this. Paint is so important for nonprofits, for donations and all that. We know how to help you through paint. I know how to film your story. Very happy to announce we have a new project, Miss Veronica over there. We are going to capture the story of your organization and your father and everything he's done. Thank you for that. That's why I'm here. I'm so happy that all of you are here. I'm proud to be a board member of Globe Frame Initiative 2. December 9th is a very big night. Spread the word. These guys have done so much work over the last year, and they created something beautiful, and it's great. It's going to be a great event. Please show up. Show up for that, and you can get more information. They'll be sending it out. So, we going to draw it? We ready to go?
You are, boss.
Well, I need to draw.
Where's the sign-in sheet?
I just won.
First one to put your hand up.
Yeah.
Bingo. Thank you all, seriously, for always coming supporting. You know, this is amazing podcast. This is an amazing organization with Iron Daniels here. So it all kind of comes in together. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do this thing. Okay.
Should we pick a number?
We're just gonna point. There's nothing.
Right there. Oh, God.
No, this was not picked. Miss Veronica. Wow. Okay. I guess we're going to take your father up to the cabin and document her in there. So wonderful. Thank you all for everything you do. You're just going to call me and we'll set it up. But thank you guys all for being here. Thank you, Globe Frame. Thank you for a great interview. And love you, brother.
Love you too. Thank you. You want back in the spotlight?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all. Cut.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Well, you guys got to see the experience, and this is just kind of wrap it up. You guys saw the pre-production, you guys saw the training, you guys saw the production. Thank you all for coming out.
We gotta get a picture standing up
What
here.
it's all about, sharing and spreading resources. So talk to each other.
How'd you feel?
It was nice.
Bro, thank you, man.